Hello, everyone. We'll wait a minute or two and see if anybody comes in, but welcome. So I'm just going to go ahead and get started. Welcome, everyone. This is Kimberly. Nice to have you here on this channel, Living a Spiritual Life. And I welcome you to the first episode of The Truth. And tonight it's about spirituality. Now, I know we have a blank screen here. So let's talk about that for a second. Spirituality is something that's within us, deep inside our souls, inside of our hearts, as it's part of us. It's not what our eyes look like, what kind of makeup we're wearing, what our hair looks like, or what kind of clothes we're wearing, our background. It's about nothing other than our souls. So I've chosen on these podcasts to do black screen because it is my soul that wants to speak to your soul so that we can communicate in truth and integrity. So with that being said, let's get right into it. You know, back in the day, I'm talking 2007, 2008, when I first got introduced to spirituality. Back then, it was even a little bit taboo. People used to call it New Age and things like this, and traditional religion was a little bit afraid of it, or the people that I was surrounded in as a Christian, non-denominational, there was a lot of fear wrapped around this new age spirituality. And still there's pretty large pockets of people who still are a little bit afraid about spirituality because of all of the taboo conversation we've had in reference to spirituality. Now, in 2007 is when I began to read up and study up on all kinds of spirituality. I went to all kinds of churches. I researched all types of different modalities. And what I found is that spirituality is everything. It's literally everything. Anything that we can research and study is broken down into bits and pieces for our ability to digest each individual piece in its entirety and not miss anything. All of the things that we can learn about are all just bits and pieces to spirituality. So, for instance, technology and science, two different pieces of spirituality, not to replace spirituality, but to enhance the understanding and the capabilities of spirituality. You understand? Now, spirituality, what I found from 2007 to 2014, I learned a lot. But I was still going through cycles continuously in my life until I finally went to Dad, and, I'll call him Dad or the Most High Creator. I went to Dad and I said, look, Dad, I apparently don't know how to do me correctly. So from here on out, I'm just going to follow your lead. Now, I was afraid to death to do it because I thought, oh, dark nights of the soul, and I'm going to lose things in my life and yada, yada, yada. But you know what? It wasn't true. This is when the Most High Creator took my hand and said, okay, I'm going to have you learn about what living spiritually really is.
Because it's one thing to understand spirituality from, say, a book sense, but it's quite another thing to live spiritually. And when I was able to research all these different modalities, all these little pieces started coming together that actually work together, although we learn about them separately. And what Dad showed me is that we literally have an educational system that he created, but we just aren't looking at it correctly to learn from it. And it all starts with us understanding who we are to begin with. That's like the most crucial part about spirituality. Who exactly are we anyway? We have so many differences and we have so many opinions that are contrary to others. The question is, who are we really before any of the other external circumstances? Now, from the very beginning, at that spark of creation, we were each exactly the same, a part of the Most High Creator, of a spark of love, before anything man made had the ability to touch us yet. Before religion, before nationality, before color, before money, before technology, before absolutely everything, we were first a spark of love. That is who we are. Spirituality is learning how to be that spark of love every day in your life, every single day in your life. Now, then, one might ask, what exactly then is love? If love is everything, how does everything apply to me specifically in who I am? Well, that's a giant question because we are absolutely everything. So, not only are we love, we're also joy, we're also beauty, we're also creative, we're also lovable as well as capable of being loved, mind you. We are able to create literally anything that we could possibly conceive. Nearly jumping tall buildings with a single bound is within the realm of capability when you remember that you are love. And protected? Oh, by far protected. The energy vibration that's created as you recognize who you are becomes your protection. So think about it this way. If I'm love and I'm literally limitless and I'm completely protected and I am joy and I am peace and I am beauty and I am intelligence, if I am all of these things, am I limiting myself or am I living my full capacity of what I can be? Living at our full capacity means that we remove all the barriers that we feel are before us. And by learning who we are spiritually, this spark of love, capable of doing absolutely anything and supposed to be doing it all in joy. Joy, joy, joy. Not just on weekends or holidays, but every single day of our lives. When we sit back and look at our life today, is that what we have? Is that what we do? There's so many restrictions placed around us to make us believe we're less than the best. Social conditioning is a big one. Social media and the news outlets and events going on globally all make us feel like we're less, always having to live up to some standard. But all of these things that we feel less about are man made and not truth of who we are. In fact, the things that we respond to in that way, we're assigning our value to them by responding in a less than great way back to the issue at hand. It's by first remembering who we are And it doesn't matter what our religion is. It doesn't matter what our nationality is. It doesn't matter what color our skin is. It doesn't matter what our viewpoints on anything is. It doesn't matter what kind of car we drive, what kind of house we live in, what kind of job we do or may or may not have. It doesn't matter how big our bank accounts are. The fact of the matter is that we are all exactly the same, and we are all greatness. None of none of it matters. It doesn't matter what other people think about you even. And it doesn't matter if you have hangups or addictions or anything like that. All of the things that life might throw at us. Doesn't matter if you're going through relationship challenges, money challenges. None of it matters. And you know what? It doesn't even matter what you think about yourself. Not at all. The only thing that really, really matters that we have to place at the front of our minds when we're thinking about spirituality. The only thing that really matters is who we are at our core, at our origins, our place where we are all equal and the same before anything else. By grasping the greatness and allowing ourselves to believe that's who we are really. We open the door to so much beauty, opportunity, peace, and unity that it breeds joy into our day. And that joy, I mean, think about it. If you reapproach some of your relationships or job situations or any myriad of things in your day where you feel less than joyful or completely happy about, if you reapproached each one of these things, recognizing that joy is inherent within all things as long as we approach it from a place of joy, when we approach it as joy, how does that change everything? How does that change the way you look at the person? How does that change the way you view their actions and behaviors? How does that change the way you feel about that person or situation or circumstance? When you see yourself from a positive perspective and you allow yourself to view everything, including yourself, from this uplifted, positive perspective, it begins to literally change the circumstances surrounding everything. Because let me explain to you what happens. I mentioned it for just a moment. As we begin to accept who we truly are, as the Most High Creator has created us, what happens is that our personal energy vibration inside of our beings begins to rise. So let me get a little bit into that because it is very much a part of the whole of spirituality that has been left out in a lot of cases from our educational experience. I'm sure you all have heard about Reiki and chakras, okay? Now, going into this conversation about personal energy vibration, we first must recognize that absolutely everything in our world is energy. Everything that you look at, everything that you touch, everything that you experience is energy. And we are also energetic beings. And we were created to be able to adjust our personal energy vibrations. We were just never taught how. Not really. A lot of fake bravado, fake it till you make it, and things like that oftentimes have replaced or attempted to replace the necessity of allowing yourself to accept who you are and to move forward in joy. As you begin to grasp the concept of who you are, your personal energy vibration starts to increase. It is attached to an invisible energy path of your 7 chakras. Now there's many, many more chakras, but the 7 basic chakras are the ones that we focus on so that all other chakras can be enhanced. Okay? Now there's your root chakra, your sacral chakra, your solar plexus chakra, your heart chakra. Now, these first 4 chakras, many people have never learned about. These are the 4 chakras that were removed and suppressed from a lot of the information that we've received and understand and have educated ourselves on. But we're very familiar with at least some part in use: the throat chakra, the third eye chakra, and the crown chakra. So, what happens is when we begin to accept our own greatness and we begin to reestablish our joy, what's happening is the root chakra that's attached to our foundational understanding of ourselves, our belief systems, the one thing in our lives that we don't compromise, that we feel so fully engaged with. Okay? We're establishing the foundation of ourselves. And as we accept our own greatness, our root chakra comes online. It may be spinning because it's like a little disc that spins, but it could be spinning slow. And you're stuck and you feel like you don't have a foundation. You don't have a place of yourself to be noted for yourself. And then as we walk, or if we are spinning too quickly, that means we think too much about our foundation, overboard, protective, stagnant in our own fear of moving forward. But as we begin to accept who we are, that chakra begins to even out its energetic output. It actually begins to heal and enable our personal energy vibration to work correctly within that root chakra. Now, once that's established and we move up into understanding that joy should be normal and natural for us, we begin to affect the next chakra up, and that's called the sacral chakra. And the sacral chakra brings that joy of life back into focus. It combines our spiritual understanding of who we are with the spiritual understanding of how our normal lives should be. And we begin combining this higher level perspective and understanding of self with the function of joy. And by integrating these two things, our energy vibration keeps flowing and increasing. And what's happening is that you actually feel a rush of energy. This rush of energy sometimes could be confused with a feeling of anxiety because it's a charge. Like you're beginning to feel charged. You immediately begin noticing, oh my goodness, I feel much more energetic in a positive way. Almost feeling like you're anticipating something great to happen rather than a sense of dread that would normally be assigned to anxiety. They look the same and sometimes might be distinguished as the same only because we haven't understood that that rush of energy is really a positive thing rather than a negative thing. So now we're healing that sacral chakra. And as we move up to our solar plexus chakra, this is where we begin integrating this upper level understanding of who we are along with joy actively in our lives, because spirituality isn't just cerebral. It's also motion, action. And when we begin to live like we are this greater self and enjoy, boy, things begin to really change in a positive way, because spirituality doesn't change your mind about anything. I mean, it doesn't change your circumstances. Like a lot of people would be afraid that they're going to lose relationships or jobs or things like this, but that's simply not the case. What happens is that your elevated thought of self and this increased energetic vibration begins to affect you so positively that all of your external experiences become more positive also as a byproduct. So, as we're walking into our solar plexus chakra, what's happening now is that we're learning how to behave a little bit differently. Now, a lot of people say too, oh, I have addictions, I have this, I have these hangups. It doesn't matter. None of that matters because what's happening as we're moving up our chakra system with new understanding about who we are, growing in spiritual wisdom and affecting our chakra system in such a healing capacity and causing an upliftment of our personal energy vibration. What's happening in our brains is really a scientific thing that we should understand. Because for years and years and years, we've gone on in this same method of being non spiritual, lack of understanding of who we are. And we've created this very familiar pathway, a road within our brain. And this is the neural pathway that causes us to behave the same way about the same things all the time. Knee jerk reactions. You understand? This is what has become our developed way of living. But here's the problem that pathway that we've got there, it only has lower vibrational information stored within it. It can only provide us back the low vibrational information that we've fed it. And what happens is when you begin to grow spiritually and increase your energetic vibration, a new path begins to form in your brain. Now, this path is already expecting to be a high level vibration. So it is created as a high level vibration. It's kind of like if you're a business person, right, and you have an item you want to sell. The rule of thumb is that when you're setting your price, wherever you set it on a scale of 1 to 100, 1 being the lowest and 1 being the most expensive, wherever you set it along that scale, you can only reach up by 10, 20%. So in that case, if you set it at 60, you can never ever go any higher than 80. You can always reach down, but you can't reach up. And that's the same way it works with our neural pathways. So the pathways that we're accustomed to, they're probably set at like 40. So we can only ever reach a maximum of 60 and stop. But as our body and our minds and the energy within us begin to respond to our new spiritual wisdom, it needs a new road so it can reach 100 because that's where our value is, not 40. We are 100% in our value, not 40, not 50, and not 60. So this pathway begins to open before us. Now, because the other pathway was such a low vibration, it was constantly returning to us lower vibration experiences, relationships. This new pathway, because it's so much more high vibrational, it begins to manufacture for us higher level experiences with a higher level personal energy vibration from a more positive, peaceful, and joyful aspect. Now, as we begin to grasp who we are authentically and begin acting that way with our smallish group of friends and family and coworkers, it's like it's like the test drive of authenticity is what the solar plexus chakra is. And after we go through that, then we step into the heart chakra. Now, The heart chakra is my favorite because the heart chakra has us take a breath to evaluate where we are, the new foundation, the new understanding of joy in our lives, our first test of authenticity in our environment, and the recognition of how we look and feel with this new, brand new energy on this new pathway. And we like it. This is where authenticity says, you know what? I've experienced me without this, and now I'm experiencing me with this. And I like this much more than I like that. So I am going to allow myself to be my most authentic, spiritually wise, high vibrational self. Excuse me. I am going to remove my mask and allow my beautiful, magnificent, peaceful, joyful, loving self to be all that it can be. And when we do this in the heart chakra, we're activating the energy within that heart chakra. And it is the most pure, loving, and peaceful energy vibration. And it just brings a whole level of warmth. And you can almost sense a different kind of light coming from you, a change in your aura. Because it's so powerful and so beautiful that you can't not feel it. And you want that for yourself, and you suddenly recognize that in everyone else as well. Now, suddenly you say to self, well, I thought this about Sally, and I thought that about Frank. But you know what the truth about it is? We're all on a road. None of our roads are exactly the same. However, every road does lead to the same destination for all of us. And that's remembering who we are to begin with and begin living our lives as such. And that is offering the atonement to someone, allowing them the truth of who they are, rather than believing or seeing their masks. You don't need your mask, and you no longer need anyone else's mask. Because of the beauty and the goodness that you found within yourself, this positive, energetic vibration, this waking up happy every day, this increased energy. It makes you glow. You begin taking more care of yourself because, darn it, you're important. And the more important you allow yourself to become as the Most High Creator has created you to be, the more brilliant your life shines, the more you desire authenticity over what you used to have. The things like clothing and status and cars and money and all these things begin to reallocate themselves in the importance of their function. Right now, all of these things are put at the forefront. All of these little pieces of spirituality we run after separately, but we have misassigned their importance. So they've lost their ability to be the tool that they really are in their full function and capability. But once we allow ourselves to reestablish our foundation as spiritual beings, capable of absolutely anything, to be lived out in joy as most authentically as possible, we then open our hearts to all that we are, and then have the ability to see everyone else as they are as well, all on a road of education to learn and become all that we can be. When you offer that acknowledgement first to yourself of your own greatness and the dropping of your mask, and then you offer the lack of what the atonement is, us looking at someone else without their mask, seeing the spark of love within them as well. That is what offering the atonement is to another person. And we receive atonement by giving atonement. So these first four chakras are the most important chakras. The spiritual understanding about who we are and how it affects these chakras and our minds and our spiritual sense of self is all developed and maintained within these first four chakras. What we do with it is the rest of the chakras. These are some of the things that we've learned, at least in part, in our past. But these four chakras are unbelievably powerful. This heart chakra activation is the springboard into the rest of who you are, into your ability to become your fullest, greatest self. Then, as we walk into our throat chakra, the throat chakra is all about communication. And we begin to learn that this energy vibration that is increasing in our body as a result of our spiritual wisdom, it's actually affecting our surroundings. Some people call it like your aura. So if you imagine, and this is something I guess more people would be familiar with, if you imagine your personal energy vibration being your aura, by the time you get to the throat chakra, you already have the red aura, the orange is added to that, yellow is added to that, green is added to that, and now we're adding blue. So you're already 5 layers into your auric field. 5 different levels of personal energy vibration increase as it relates to the chakras, that invisible energy system within you. Now, this causes communication without having to verbalize. Our energetic vibration becomes our energetic signature. It literally walks in a room before we do, setting the tone. Did you ever notice when somebody negative comes in, you feel it? Or when somebody positive comes in, it affects the whole crowd, the whole room, the whole office, the whole class? When you've reached that heart chakra activation and you walk into the throat chakra, this is when we become responsible in understanding how powerful we have become. Because now, this energy vibration, we're beginning to get it. Okay, I get it. I actually feel inside of me an increase of energy like I've never experienced before. And it's not out of control. It's calm, it's peaceful, it's knowing, it's powerful as heck. When we stand straight up tall, recognizing just who we are, and we go about our day in a joyful way, this energy vibration is just shimmering and powerful. It's literally neutralizing negative energy all around us. Going back to the neurological pathways in our brain, that old road that we used to walk, it doesn't have it can't accommodate this increased spiritual energy vibration. All 4 chakras are just humming, and now we're walking into this nonverbal communication with the understanding about our energy doing the work for us. And it's our state of mind, our thoughts, and our behaviors that drive our level of energetic vibration. So remaining in a high vibrational state is always beneficial to us. And this is where I also say we create our little bubble. This is where our protection comes in. This energy vibration, let me explain a different way. An upper level, higher level energetic vibration is about 10 times plus more powerful than any lower vibration. So, quite literally, when you're in zone in a high energetic personal vibration, the lower level energies don't stand a chance. The only time that they can exist is when we allow it to exist for the matter of the learning experience, and that's it. I call it our little love bubble. It's the one thing that truly belongs to us that no one else can take, no one else can affect. Heck, you could decorate the inside of that. It could be any color you want. It could be, shag rugs and some posh beanbag chairs, or it could be modern and architecturally, like even a castle. But it is your bubble, and it is your protection, and it is your energy that makes it. So, from the very beginning, when we finally recognize exactly who we are, part of who we are is protection. And now we're given the capability with this increased personal energy vibration to recognize our protection is our personal energy vibration. The Most High Creator, He made us absolutely complete in every way, able to protect ourselves, able to be as smart, as loving, as joyful, as everything, the best of the best. He made us capable of healing our own selves, the whole nine yards. And spirituality is what helps you recognize that and achieve different levels of state of being. Now, once you're in this throat chakra area, okay, what's happening now? You've not only recognized that you have energy vibration, but you've begun to validate how it increases with every new level of spiritual knowledge. And now this becomes your tool. This becomes your tool. Your energy is your tool to manifest anything you would like, to correct any situation that you're unhappy about without even having to speak, because the source of your being has been adjusted to its correct center. It's no longer about superficial things that are only little bits and pieces of spirituality. You've refocused the importance of your intention by placing your attention on the foundation of who you are and all of your greatness. It means everything for the rest of your lives. And being provided this little love bubble that's completely yours, it's a freedom thing. You could do anything to me in this whole entire world, but the one thing you could never do to me or take away from me is my very own love bubble. My peace, my sanity, my joy, my love, my comfort, my strength, and my protection are all within this little love bubble, and it's supercharged, 5 layers thick. And I only add to it as I move up the chakra system, because the third eye chakra, a lot of people call it intuition, but it's really not intuition. Intuition is a recollection of a previous experience. And this is where natural healing of the emotions begins to take place. You have now increased your energy vibration to such a degree, and you're beginning to understand things at a far more superior level than before. And this is when we allow our new knowledge about who we are to backwash any of the earthly experiences that we may have had that are painful, holding us back from our own greatness. Anything that causes us fear or guilt or feelings of lack or sadness. These all begin to be unlocked, because what happens is, say for instance, you're always at the sacral chakra energy level, okay? And a problem happens while you're at that level of spiritual energy vibration, personal energy vibration. Well, you and the problem are at the same energetic vibration, offering no increased wisdom for you to fully understand the purpose of the challenge, the lesson. Sometimes things are difficult, and you need that higher level perspective within yourself to understand and bring closure to things that caused you pain, There is no such thing as a dark night of the soul, honestly. It's only by trying to understand the lesson in the place where it happens that a dark night of the soul could even happen. When you're matching the energy vibration of the problem itself, you can't expect anything more than problems, misunderstandings, lack of educational experience. But as we enter the third eye chakra and we are at such a high level of personal energy vibration, we begin to look at things, not only ourselves differently, but the things that have happened and gone on in our lives previously. That closure begins to happen, and it begins to transmute all of those lower energy vibration thoughts and feelings into a higher level vibration because you finally understood the reason. You can accept the reason and the closure and allow it to be transmuted and used in a positive way. When you go through the process of growing spiritually, and in step 1, you're rediscovering who you are, and in step 2, you're reconnecting with your joy, what happens is that's setting your foundations so that this healed understanding then, combined with the understanding of your greatness and joy, then becomes the catalyst to manifestation. Your healed self now has the capability of manifesting at its highest capabilities because now it now understands, yourself begins to understand how to operate in a way that allows all of this growth and healing to take place. When we look at ourselves in a different way and begin to understand how the Most High Creator has set up our educational experiences for us, we begin to be able to heal naturally, which means that not only are we solving all of the things that were hangups from yesterday, but we're also learning how to onboard new challenges, back up, and re-look at them from a higher level perspective, which is promoting and enabling natural healing to occur within minutes. What may have taken someone weeks to get over will take them days or hours or minutes as you progress. Natural healing is natural. It's supposed to happen just like that. All of these lower level vibrations are running contrary to this higher level vibration of healing. And that's why we don't do it already. And all of the understanding about spirituality has been fragmented. But when we now reconsider that all things are spirituality, and we are only on the full final stages of pulling that all together, we can then grasp our place within the educational system and get to this maximum capability, which enables us to heal our emotions naturally. Now, let me tell you something else. These chakras, they're all connected to different areas, different parts of our endocrine system. Think about that for a minute. It's like I have my programs called Spirituality, the Final Frontier, because it's like we're integrating that final piece back into ourselves that makes everything else better. When we're healing our endocrine system, we're talking about hormone dysfunction, salt issues, sugar issues, fight or flight and anxiety issues. Did I say digestion issues, thyroid issues, circulation issues, heart issues, lung issues, brain issues, back issues, allergy issues? All of these symptoms that we experience as sicknesses and diseases are attached to the malfunction or the lack of support that our endocrine system needs so it can work properly. And what I found out is that by learning about who we are from a spiritual perspective and onboarding that and integrating that into a spiritual life and recognizing how that affects our energetic vibration and not only learning about it, but learning how to manage it, we're actually physically healing our bodies because our endocrine system requires healed chakras of the proper energetic balance to function correctly. And by allowing our endocrine system to begin to function correctly, we're we are assisting the rest of our bodies in functioning correctly. So not only are we experiencing a full like wow moment about our own greatness. Okay, let me see if I can even accept how great I really am is kind of where you start off. And then we move into, wow, I'm really am starting to feel more joyful. I really am beginning to allow myself to be that great, joyful self that I've always been. And you know what? I don't even need my darn mask because inside of me, I am already great. My mask keeps me from being my authentic, great self. And you know what? I don't want that for me, and I don't want it from my brothers. And so I give and receive the atonement. I accept that heart chakra activation, and I now know the importance of my energy and how to identify where I am energetically and how to manage my energy for the benefit of myself and others. And here I am healing my own body, my own emotions, just by accepting my own greatness and falling into alignment with how the Most High Creator wanted us to learn about who we are. So we stop missing out on the best He has to offer. Because you know what? I got to tell you something. Miracles that we've asked for, they're at the highest vibration we can be. Every time we match the energetic vibration of the miracle we asked for, it manifests. So, back here, when we were talking about our joy on sacral chakra, we were actually manifesting miracles. And by going through the remaining chakras, we've actually enabled our energy vibration to increase to the degree that we now can experience the miracle that we requested way back here because we allowed ourselves to understand how the Most High Creator is trying to teach us. So after we've healed these emotions, and now third this third eye chakra, this natural healing is like, I don't know even how to explain it. I might say it's like a lightning bolt. It's like such an aha moment, like a moment of freedom and release and this beautiful flow of energy. And suddenly you can just imagine yourself as this purely energetic human being full of this positive radiance, which begins correction over all things, bringing beauty and love and understanding. Excuse me. Now we move into the final chakra, the crown chakra. And the crown chakra is where our manifestations really begin to take root. A lot of people believe that it's where we begin to manifest, but it's not. It's where we begin to realize our miracles. They've been sitting there all along, but now we're operating from this higher level perspective. We are sending out beautiful golden energy. We are claiming our miracles. We are operating at an optimal capacity. And there's no other choice but for all of our miracles to manifest. See what happens with every thought, with every word, with every action. It's attached to some level of energy vibration. And what happens is we're sending out a boomerang into the universe. Now, what do boomerangs do? They return to us. So every thought, word, and action creates a boomerang that's going to return to us. As we begin, we're at a low vibration. Those are like wooden and moldy boomerangs. And that's what we are sending out to have returned to us. It's a universal law. There's no way around it. Some people call it karma. It's simply a return of the energy that was sent out. And as you increase your energetic vibration, your boomerangs increase in quality. You go from wood to bronze to silver to golden to platinum. And by the time you reach the crown chakra, you are platinum. Creating platinum, being platinum, showing up as platinum, silently leading others with a platinum miracle mindset. And this is all spirituality really is. It changes nothing negatively. It just improves absolutely everything. It improves your viewpoint on everything. It brings clarity. It puts a light in dark places. Let me just take religion as an example. I'm a Christian spiritualist, okay? So for me, it made me understand that the Most High Creator is even greater than I ever knew before. I no longer call him God like the typical Christian. I call him the Most High Creator because that is a name more well deserved because of my thinking of myself and accepting my own greatness. It made me realize how much greater the Most High Creator is than I ever even understood. So, in that simple example, it amplifies the beauty and the importance of everything else. It enables us to fully be responsible for our thoughts, our actions, and our manifestations, how we act towards one another, and the condition of our love bubble. It's our responsibility to remember who we are, to reconnect, to heal ourselves emotionally and physically, finally, to rise to the highest vibration. And consequently, this high vibration, because it's so powerful, if you think about it like by way of miles, say the root chakra gives you 1 mile, the root and sacral give you 2, and so on and so on. By the time you get to the crown, you're 7 miles out. Okay? This is how powerful we become. And think of all of the things that we can touch within a 7 mile radius. How many minds, how many circumstances, how many situations, how many trees and flowers and grass and animals. We are literally bringing healing to everything within the radius of our energy. We are healing our world. And as we healed our world, we're healing our planet. Think about earthquakes and volcanoes and landslides and avalanches and tsunamis and yada, yada, right? All of that is an agitation from a continuous low vibration. Once we begin to amp up our personal energy vibrations and they begin to add up as a whole, our planet not only begins to flourish, but to heal within it. And that vibration is radiated out into our atmosphere and our universe. It just keeps growing and growing and growing and growing. And you know what? Our universe is already dancing the dance of life in alignment with the highest level energy vibration. We're simply joining in with the rest of the universe and experiencing all of the goodness that's contained within it together rather than being something on the outside. A planet of people on the outside. Some people call it the prison planet. Some people call it the learning planet. I like the learning planet. It's true. And by the time we start learning up, we get closer and closer and closer to dancing that dance of life. While we heal our emotions, we heal our bodies, and we begin to experience peaceful joyfulness and unity between all. That's all spirituality is, my friends. Don't get it confused. It's not difficult to understand. It's not difficult to learn. It's not difficult to integrate. And it's not difficult to be spiritually great. In fact, it's the easiest thing I've ever done in my whole life. It is easy to be spiritual. There's just a lot of things around us that may make us feel like it's not. You know, in 2014, when I went to Dad and I said I was going to follow him, my mind was only at like a level 2, a root or a sacral chakra. I thought I had to be fixed before I could be accepted for growth and love. I was wrong. I went through dark nights of the soul. I went through hell. I lost things. But it's only because I had to learn how it works. I had to learn by actually doing it and researching everything. Because in the end, I look back and I say, you know what? I made it 100 times harder than it had to be. I didn't have anyone saying, all you got to do is this, that, and whatever. So I'm here with you saying, hey, you know what? It doesn't have to be hard. It's only hard if you make it hard. And I've done it a whole bunch of times. And I fine-tuned God's educational system, the Most High Creator's educational system, so I can show you how to connect, how to become all of who you are, to help you find the pitfalls, recognize the opportunities, and the validations that exist during the whole path, and to help you reach the miracle mindset where you stay producing platinum boomerangs that heal you, your family, your community, your state, your nation, the globe, the atmosphere, and the universe as we all join together in the dance of life. Today I pray to the Most High Creator that my soul has touched yours. I know it was packed with information and I know it wasn't professionally put together, but you know what? Spirituality is us getting back to basics, back to what's real, back to the soul connection where we came from. Because just like our thoughts, our actions, and our words all send out an energetic vibration, so did the moment we were created. That sent out a most beautiful platinum boomerang. And what begins in love must end in love. That boomerang is already on the return. We simply must see to grasp it. I love you. I look forward to talking to you lots going forward. Thursday, 8 o'clock, we have Let's Talk About It. On my other channel, YouTube channel, Club Healed Human. On Wednesday mornings, I have UCT at 8 a.m. That's the Universal Coalition for Truth channel. It's at UCT USA. And the podcast is called Key Point Solutions, where we discuss different matters concerning political matters that affect us at our community level and how we can work together to make some correction from a higher level vibration. And I also have another channel called Club Healed Human. And Club Healed Human offers a podcast on Friday called Real Life Shit, where I field personal questions like, about relationships and jobs, specific questions, not just an overview from my listeners. And then on Saturday, and that's at 8 o'clock on Fridays. Saturday mornings at 7, I do Miracle Mindset Meditations, which is a guided meditation each week to help us get our chakras and our energy vibration and our minds and bodies all cleared and, in the healing process, ready to set the intention, recharging our power in order to move forward positively into our week. Um, and I also offer the healing program, which I currently am actively registering people for the healing event that begins on September 13th. It does have an August 31st cutoff date where it's a 7-week program, and I assist you in attaining the 7 levels of miracle mindset that are possible through spiritual wisdom and understanding. Well, until next time, my friends, I love you. I leave you in peace and wish you joy and love in your life. Talk to you later. Bye for now.